walleye season may be closed here in Minnesota, but you can still bust out the big rods and catch something that fights back. It's exactly what we're doing today, chasing burbot, aka eelpout, whatever you want to call them. You don't have to wait until March or the very end of February to catch them. We've been catching them all season long. Yeah, the bite gets better as the season goes on, but you can still get out there and hook up with a heavy fish. Sometimes they're pushing double digits. They eat aggressively, they fight hard, they're gorgeous. It's my favorite time of year. So earlier today we actually went out crappie fishing and struck out. We tried a new lake, had good data, fish up to 15 inches on Onyx fish, and it even was a high abundance lake, but we struggled. We searched around, ended up finding out that it was clear water and it was kind of a weed bite, and those fish are just, you have to put in a lot of time to find them. We finally did find some and got turned down, or the bluegills would come in and grab the bait before the big, 6 or 8 pack of crappies rolling through could grab it. So we ended up calling an audible, switching gears. We're like, you know what? Got some fat heads, got some big bright glowing spoons. Let's go pound bottom for a while. And Joel here, Van de Krol behind the camera, has never caught a burbot. He's an Iowa boy. So we got to see if we can get a little slime on his hands. What do you think, man? Yeah? Like I said, it's early in the season, but you can still catch them. They bite all year long, but we do things a little bit differently on the beginning, the front side of burbot season, as compared to what you would normally hear during peak spawning season. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit.
And for now, we're going to show you some sexy B-roll of us not catching any fish.
Yeah, here's some sexy B-roll of us not catching any crappies just a few hours ago. Now that we got that beautiful but tragic event out of the way, let's move on to some slimier shenanigans this evening. So we switched gears, headed to a new lake just down the road. We got out here right at sunset and it was freaking gorgeous. We actually both stopped and just like soaked it in for a minute. One of those beautiful red skies, just felt fishy. And yeah, set up right at dark. Sunset right now is about 6 o'clock. And it did not take long for the first burbot to show up. And you'll see Joel was lucky enough to get the first one. We'll roll that clip right now. His first burbot ever. On. Right off pounding bottom?
Yeah.
You just might have got your first burbot and we're barely set up. Your first burb, dude! Or did you say that's your first ever? You've never caught one?
I've never even seen one.
Dude!
You freaking smoked it.
You're pounding bottom in the dead zone. He's waving. So that fish never even showed up on the graph. It was in what they call the dead spot, pounding bottom, and all of a sudden, dunk. Or you go to to rip that spoon again and your rod tip just stays down. Classic, that's the classic traditional burbot bite where people say you don't even need your electronics on. They're in the dead zone, which is the bottom foot or 2 feet. We're on these steep breaks. You just can't see what's going on down there. And now normally if I'm fishing solo, what I do is I set up perpendicular to the break and I run my graph in forward mode, shooting up the break or down the break, and then you basically eliminate the dead zone. But with 2 people, it's a little harder to line things up, and we had a stiff wind coming at our back, so we didn't worry about that, and that's all right. Half the fun with those bottom hugging burbot is not knowing when they're gonna come like that. Cross that off his bucket list. That was a perfect eater burbot. Out on this lake, I swear they're born like 8 pounds, so the odd chance that we catch one that's in that 4-ish pound range or a little heavier, that's the perfect one for me to keep and eat. And we've already been talking about it. I think he's gonna do half little Cajun chunks and maybe the other half like scallops, where you just do little medallions, cast iron pan, garlic, butter, lemon juice, a couple minutes, and oh, it's so delicious. But those bigger ones, I just can't put a knife to them. They're like family to me. They're special, and it's kind of like walleyes, where an 8 or 10 pound walleye is a trophy, and same thing for burbot around here. So that one is heading for the grease, and something that I'm super excited about is Minnesota, as of March 1st, has a burbot possession limit. Something that hasn't happened ever. I mean, not long ago, people would throw them on the ice, leave them for the birds. That's illegal nowadays. And I mean, the word is out now. People don't really do that anymore because it's ridiculous. But now we're actually going to have a possession limit. Step in the right direction. I can tell you, I've been on lakes where in the past I have seen people leaving with a sled full of 70 plus burbot, which is just outrageous. And there was no limit, and it was perfectly legal for them to do, but 70 fish is insane. So props to the DNR for putting a limit on them. People are starting to respect the pout. I love it, man. All right, fish number 2 of the evening. I had the first crack at her. She came in, sniffed me up, eyed me up, said nuh-uh, and slid over to my buddy Joel, and he was in for a ride because it was the next caliber up. Oh, big suspended one.
Holy cow.
Oh, 2 of them.
Oh. That one. Come on, baby.
So, wiggling it in place like that for suspended ones is kind of the deal. Turn on it, turn on it. Yeah, he's backing up. And this is a small one, but I would take him. Eat it. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's your turn. You might spin on me one more time. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh my gosh.
Third time's a charm.
Please eat it. All over it. Oh my gosh, dude. He wants it. Please feel a thump. Please, please, please. See his big old tail, how it looks like another fish? Dude, I just want one of us to catch it. I hope it's you now. So just keep it moving so that he can feel where it is.
Another one there.
That's his tail.
Is it really?
Yeah, he's just huge. Yes, dude! You're a beast. That's a good one. When their tail looks like another fish. Dude, Joel. Sick. Got about 5 feet to go, Joel. Alright. I think I still have plenty of time. I know he's only 5 feet down, but... This is one of those big suspended ones where it's big enough that its tail looks like another fish. So it's probably pushing 10. It's at the bottom of the hole. When I tell you to pull, because when his head's turned.
It's not Yeah, you can let him go down.
Just keep it tight. No, don't let it go slack though.
It's wrapped around his gills, I think, or his body.
Just keep pulling. He'll get backed up. Okay, now lift. Got him. Bad camera job, but nice fish. Well, that's an upgrade to your PB. We went from horizontal to vertical.
Holy cow.
Sorry. This was the small one. I mentioned before, but Joel had never caught a burbot before. Got his first, and now his new biggest. And it was such a cool eat, the way it was suspended in a pair.
I hope you got that recorded.
Yes, I do.
Alright, let's let her go.
Yeah. Just all muscle, dude. This is gonna be my favorite part. They always try to go down like backwards, and I can't wait to watch this. It never goes well. Got her. Dude, congrats, man.
Appreciate it. That's awesome.
So props to Joel, not only catching his first burbot, but then getting a big one to set his new PB. I can't tell you what he caught his on. Some sort of, it's sitting right over there. I hope it's not in the corner of the video. Some sort of new tungsten spoon from Norfin. I can tell you that it's white and orange and glows really bright. And those fish liked it. But I can tell you what I caught mine on. No secret, big nasty tackle, Trout-N-Pout spoon. This is the smallest size actually, which is huge by spoon standards. Actually put a number 4 VMC X-Wrap treble on this one. Bigger, beefier hook. That wider gap lets you pile minnows on there. And I just love having the feathered treble. Just a little extra movement, a little extra something for them to feel. The important thing is that it glows. Heavy is always good because you're pounding bottom a lot of the times. I got 3 fathead heads on there, and a little trick is to add some bait buttons. I've shown that in the past, but if you don't have bait buttons, because they're literally impossible to find unless you special order, take a rubber band, cut some little chunks of your rubber band, maybe from your minnow bag, and just put that over your hook, and it keeps those minnow heads pinned on there. You can literally fish with the same minnow heads the whole night. I still recommend taking them off once in a while and putting some fresh ones on, but fat heads work great. If I want to be fancy, I'll use shiner heads if I can find them, just because they're stinky. But yeah, scent, glow, heavy is good, like I said, for pounding bottom. You can absolutely use a normal walleye rod for these, which is the beauty of burbot. The whole reason I got into them is because the game fish season closes here. I want to catch something that fights back. You know, bluegills are fine, crappies are fine. I want to catch something that I can't move when that rod is loaded up. My favorite burbot rod right now, tuned up custom rods, Vulcan. It is sick. It's actually a rod that I use for big rattle baits, like number 6s, number 7s for ripping wraps, even number 7s and number 9 jigging wraps. Lots of backbone, great load. Love this glass rod when I'm not hooked on the fish house. I got 10 pounds Sufix Advance Mono on here. Not the ice stuff, because that only goes up to 8, so I literally just use from my bulk spool in the summer. 10 pound is just enough forgiveness, but it's still beefy enough. You can land the biggest burbot you'll ever catch. I run a little number 10 VMC Rolling Swivel. Just because it's deep water, you're constantly reeling up and down and pounding and to stop line twist. Usually about a 12-pound fluorocarbon leader, sometimes 14, just because it helps. If you use too thin of a fluorocarbon leader, you get a lot of this going on, wrapping up and fouling. So a little stiffer leader just helps with that. I got a size 0 VMC Crankbait Snap. If I'm switching baits, I'll use rattle baits this time of year. I don't have my box with tonight. All I had with was one burbot rod rigged up, just in case we switched gears, because I had high hopes for this crappie bite. So thank goodness I had the one in the truck I never go anywhere without. But when in doubt, glow it out, pound bottom. I guess we should probably cut to my fish now. It's my turn. All this happened within about an hour too, by the way. And Joel, you had a couple of great burbot, but this next one, oh, she had a belly on her. There we go. Dude. My turn, man. This was belly to the bottom. I just saw some flickering on the bottom and just started pounding that spoon on bottom, and sure enough, ooh, it's another good one. Dude, that one has got the belly to go with it. Look at that. Holy smokes. Pre-spawn burbot. Everybody says you might as well not fish for burbot until end of February, first week of March. I'm telling you, man, we've been catching them. You just don't hear about it, but this time of year we just do things a little differently.
That is a gorgeous fish.
And oh my word, what was that, a heavy one? Get that spoon out of there. Oh, it's heavy. Bass thumb is great, but burbot thumb? Dude, I got a mess going on here, but there we go. What is it on? I can't see. Oh, it's wrapped around the tail. Look at that fish. It literally has mud or clay on his belly. Oh my gosh. This time of year, on the front end of the burbot spawn, I guess you could call it pre-spawn burbot, and actually really starting in kind of mid-January till now, we fish more weed edges and weed flats, which goes against everything you hear about for burbot. You always hear it's got to be hard bottom, rocks, sand, pounding bottom. But around here, there's a handful of lakes with burbot in them, and all of them we do best fishing those big pieces of structure, maybe a giant weed flat with a steep break that butts up adjacent to deep holes. And it's basically good walleye spots. And that's how we found these spots, was coming out fishing for walleyes, and then you stay a little too late and a slimy critter shows up. And so these fish are sliding in and out of the weeds. We watch them on LiveScope, crawling up from that deep 40, 50 foot water, heading straight up into the weeds. And we see the opposite too. We see them come crawling out of those like 16 to 18 foot weeds, coming back down the break. And there's just a lot of food here. It's just like walleye fishing, how I always say, like, pick the biggest piece of structure and then look for little irregularities on that, just because it's a percentage thing. The bigger the piece of structure, the more bait fish, the more fish. Same goes for burbot. They're here eating crayfish, eating perch. We see suspended fish out here and are on a lot of these lakes now too. And if the lake has tulipy or rainbow trout, I know on this particular lake, they'll mosey around suspended and they'll definitely take down a tasty little tulipy. When you see those on your electronics, in daytime they're darty, they're fast, they're moving. After dark, they're just these little things that just kind of hover and just float around. A burbot will absolutely take one of those down. So they're out here eating, and they're eating good, whether they're picking up grub off the bottom, bait fish a couple feet off bottom, or suspended tulipies. And the edges of these big pieces of structure that butt up adjacent to deep water, it's just a highway, and they're crawling up and down. And we're intercepting them. There's big bite windows for these things. It's super fun to pay attention to. Tonight, it was like 7 o'clock on the dot. From 7 to 7:15, we graphed 3, 4, 5 coming through. And then we had a little 20 minutes of quiet, and all of a sudden another 15 minutes of like, there's one, there's one, there's one. So 7 to 8 was definitely the best window, about an hour after sunset. And then we've graphed and caught another one, but we've graphed another 8 fish since then. They're just way less frequent, but these bite windows are crazy. There's a really good bite window that first hour after sunset, and then it kind of slows down. And then if you're out here in a wheelhouse or you're fishing in the portable, there's another bite window that's like 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, which is a tough one to pull off. But that's another really good bite window where we have the chance to catch 3 fish. You know, you have a few come through. There's one down there right now. It's just a little one, but it's on bottom. So I'm just going to drop this down. You can barely see him now. He's going off to the right, crawling back deep. But we're actually seeing quite a few, and kind of the cool thing about this time of year is you don't see as many as when you get to the very end of February through first week and a half of March, but usually you get more of them to bite. As you get more into the spawn, they got other things on their mind. They'll swim right past your bait because they're looking for another burbot. They're ready to go on date night. So this time of year, they're feeding. That's why they're cruising around and moving around. So it's kind of my favorite time of year to catch them. You don't see as many, but if you catch a couple, it's a great night. I was telling Joel on the way here, our goal is to catch one. If we catch three, it was a great night. And it was a great night. But we're seeing a lot of fish. We've had the chance to catch more than that. And it's only going to get better from here on out. I'm telling you, about a week from now is kind of when prime time starts. And that first week of March is special. But then as you get into, usually around here, it's like March 8th through the 12th or something in there. There'll be like a light switch where it switches to a daytime bite. And that's when the spawn is on. They're cruising hard bottom areas, shallower sand, sandy steep breaks, but they're looking for their burbot buddies. And you'll see big giant spawn balls, 10, 15, 20 burbot, rolling around making future generations of burbot. But those ones can be trickier to get to bite because, like I said, they got other things on their mind. You'll absolutely catch them. But man, putting down an underwater camera during the spawn and watching those fish and catching a few of them on camera is one of the funnest things I've ever done. So it's coming up. The bite's only going to get better. But you can go out and catch some right now. And maybe even a double digit like that 10 plus I got tonight. Go out and catch something that actually fights back. No offense, pan fishermen. We better keep fishing, though. I don't know, man. There's been 3 of them that have came through just while I was blabbing. I don't know. I'm not ready to go home. It's a school night, though. What do we do, Joel? What do we do?
I think that's an easy one.
Okay, I have got to shut this LiveScope off. Every time I'm getting ready to pack up, another one comes through. It's a school night. It's 10 o'clock at night now. We got school in the morning, work in the morning. Still got to load gear, thaw things out. But I'm telling you, if you've never fished for burbot before, it's an absolute riot. I promise you it will quickly become one of your favorite things. You don't need to go out and buy anything fancy. Just use your normal walleye rods. You can use your normal walleye baits and take advantage of the best ice year we have had in a decade.